Welcome to Leadership Talks with L. Wayne Smalls, CEO of L. Wayne Smalls Global Leadership Consulting. We are a leadership training and coaching company that strives to empower, enable, and enhance leaders to grow to their fullest potential. We do this by helping leaders to create legacies of leadership that last for generations into the future. At L. Wayne Smalls Global Leadership Consulting, we realize that we are the leaders paving the way for those that follow us.
Good evening and welcome to Leadership Talks with L. Wayne Smalls. I am Wayne Smalls and I am the CEO of L. Wayne Smalls Global Leadership Consulting, and I'm here to share some good news with you today. But before I do that, I want to say Happy New Year to every one of you, everyone that is watching, wherever you are today watching this show. I want to say Happy New Year. I hope you had a great holiday and had opportunities to spend the time with your families and your friends and loved ones and everyone that you hold dear and close to you. Also, we lost a lot of family members and loved ones over the last few weeks, including in my own family. We lost several of our loved ones over the holidays, and it just gave us an opportunity to be grateful for all that we have, for all that God has done for us, and all of the many things that we can just give Him praise for and thank Him for all that He's done for us. And so I want to make sure that we remember that, and remember that 2020 is the year for performance, the year for growth, development, and just being better versions of ourselves from what we were just a few weeks ago in 2019. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And I do have something special that I want to share with you. As we always do at the end of every year, we come up with those things that we say we want to do better, or something that we want to embark upon in the new year. And we call it a goal. We call it a New Year's resolution. Whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. It's something new. It's something that's going to help us to get better, something that's going to help us to improve and just be better versions of ourselves, so that we, as leaders, can help those that are following us, because we do set the example and we do lead the way. So as we go into this lesson today, I want to talk about 6 points, and the first key point is spot. So as we go through these points, I want you to keep in mind that I call this the spread method, and these are some of the tools that we use to help to turn that New Year's resolution into a plan and turn that plan into an accomplished goal. So this is what we're going to talk about today, and the first point is spot. That's right, I said spot. We want to spot all of the opportunities that are going to help us to get closer to achieving those goals that we want to achieve, and those things that are going to help us to get there even faster. So we don't have to go through life trying to figure things out on our own. We have people around us that can help us, mentors, pastors, coaches, all of those things that people do, that the service that they provide in our lives, whether it's a parent, a brother, sister, cousin, friend, or just someone that you even hire as a life coach. These are people that can help to guide you into the direction that you need to go. But you have to spot the opportunities that are going to get you closer to achieving your goal. How do you do that? And what do I mean? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I wasn't sure you were going to ask that question. You have to go outside of your comfort zone to find those opportunities that will help you. You might need to go back to school. You might need to take a certification class. You might need to attend some seminars, some leadership conferences, whatever those things are that will give you the knowledge that's going to put you in a better space. Those things that are going to help you to open up your mind, open up your way of thinking. Just imagine, if you do everything the same way this year that you did last year, do you really believe that you're going to get closer to achieving your dream? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not here to judge, but what I am here to do is show you another way of thinking, and spotting opportunities that are going to help you is one of the ways that we do that. And I'll tell you this, there's a really, really good chance that if you wait for an opportunity to come knock on your door, it's probably not going to happen. So you have to go find those opportunities. Now, I'm not saying that sometimes you may be surprised by an opportunity that came your way that you didn't see coming. But for the most part, you have to go out and find those opportunities. You have to go out and make things happen. And that's what leaders do. I'm talking to leaders right now. Leaders, we are paving the way for those that follow us. And what better example to show somebody who's following us on how to accomplish a goal when we go out and do it ourselves. That's what we do. We lead the way. Leaders lead from the front, not from the rear. We have to set the example. We have to practice what we're teaching and preaching, and we have to let everybody know that we're willing to go the extra mile because we expect them to do the same thing. Okay, that is SPOT. So spotting opportunities. Remember that. The next point that I want to talk about is the payoff. And again, we're talking about the spread method. So the next step in the spread method is the payoff. What is it going to cost you to reach for your dream? And when I say cost, I don't just mean money. Money is one of those things that you have to consider, but also your time. You may have to remap your lifestyle. You may have to change some things that you've been doing, some things that you may have been accustomed to doing that needs to be reversed, maybe need to be reconfigured altogether. You may have to go back and prioritize some things in your life that may have been preventing you from doing what you really want to do. Because at the end of the day, our purpose is to walk in our faith, walk into the belief that we're doing what God has called us to do. In achieving our purpose, the only way we can do that is really having an understanding of what God has designed for us to do. So, you could be making some good money, but you could also be making that money doing something that you really don't like. You don't like to do. You don't enjoy doing that. Maybe it's because you did something your parents wanted you to do. Maybe you took a career path that your parents said, this is good for you, this is what we want you to do, this is good for our family, and you did that. But then in doing that, you didn't find the full satisfaction of that career because you knew you wanted to do something else. Well, here's the time. Now is the time. We don't have time to wait for tomorrow because, as you know, tomorrow is not promised to anyone. You can leave from wherever you are right now and not make it to your next destination. So if your mindset is that I'll do it later, I'll get it next time, I'll do it tomorrow, that might not happen for you. So your mindset needs to be, what can I do right now that's going to take me closer to accomplishing my dream? And when you consider the cost, that's going to help you. You will determine if it's worth it to pursue or not. Or if it is worth it to pursue, how can I get to the next step? What we're going to talk about here are the resources. How do I get to those resources? But before you even go that far, you have to make sure this is worth the effort. This is worth the time. This is worth the stress that you're going to go through trying to accomplish this. And I guarantee you this, anything in your life that's worth having, you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to work hard for it. Chances are really good that you will not have that thing given to you. You have to fight for it. So consider the cost. What is the payoff? Point number 3, I just mentioned it. What resources do you need to accomplish your goal? Again, it could be money. It could be people. It could be training, material, supplies. All of those things need to be considered. And I will also offer you this. If you're working right now, you have a job that you're working in, and you're only doing it because you need a paycheck, but you're waiting for the opportunity to do something else that you really want to do. Here's where you really dig deep into your plan. Because yes, we all have to make a living to continue to pay our bills and take care of our families and do all the things that are necessary in our lives. But at the same time, there is a transition period where you can actually start working on some of those other things that you want to do. It's all about planning. If we become masters of planning, we can accomplish anything. Time management is one of the key pieces that many of us miss because we feel like we don't have enough time to do something, or we don't strategize properly, and we fail, or we fail to reach an objective because we didn't plan it out right. So going over your resources, seeing what you need to accomplish, and here's another place where your mentors can be very beneficial for you. The mentor that you choose that's working in the area where you want to work, or they're doing something or have done something that you want to do, you need to consult that mentor. Let that mentor make your life so much easier because they've already traveled that path. You don't have to recreate anything. You can get all of the guidance you need from that mentor. Make sure it's a good mentor, someone that you can trust, someone that has your best interest at heart, but they're going to help you to avoid the potholes, avoid the pitfalls. There may still be some obstacles, but you can better maneuver around those obstacles when you have a great mentor in your corner that's looking out for you, that's making sure your interests are protected. But you have to go through your resources. You have to figure out first, is the payoff worth it? And then once you figure out if the payoff is worth it, then you go through your resources. Now, then you have to say, well, how do I get these resources? For example, you want to go back to school. And you say to yourself, I don't have enough money to go back to school. Or you might say, I don't have enough time to go back to school. I have a family, I have children, I have all these other obligations I have to fulfill. I don't have the time to go back to school. Well, I would disagree with you. One thing we have now that we didn't have years ago is technology. We have the technology to go to school from home. You can take classes online, one class at a time. You can do that. Start somewhere. We all have to start somewhere. You might not have the time to go to a university and go to class on campus, but you can take classes online, and many classes today allow you to take the course at your own pace. So you can do that. One class at a time. At some point, you're going to graduate, or at some point, you're going to get that certificate. But the first thing you need to do is start. You have to start. Don't defeat yourself before you ever get going. And I was talking to a good friend of mine just the other day, and I shared with this friend of mine that you have to try. The worst thing that can happen to you if you try is that you'll end up right where you are right now. You're already here. So if you try, the only thing you can do is go up. But if you never try, I guarantee you, you will fail. You will fail if you never try. So don't let an obstacle stop you from achieving your goal. That's just another way that you find where you can get around that obstacle. You just have other opportunities to find new ways to do something. And after that, now you have a testimony that you can share with somebody else who's behind you that might be looking at you. You can share your experience with them and help them maneuver through those obstacles as well. So your resources are very, very, very important. But I will tell you this again. Don't let fear cripple you to the point where you never try anything new. Don't let fear cause you to procrastinate your way out of doing something that you really want to do. Fear and procrastination go hand in hand. But fear is a mind killer. And it is a little evil that disintegrates from the inside to the outside. And if we don't learn to face and control that fear, we will never do anything worth talking about. That I can guarantee you. So stand up above those fears. Face those fears head on. And march forward and try to do that thing that you said you wanted to do in the new year. Try to do that thing that you said you wanted that was going to help you to be a better person. That thing that was going to put you in a better position to make more money. That thing that was going to put you in a better position to be a better leader to those that are following you. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about here. Being better leaders, being better individuals, and being better human beings. So that's the resource. The next point I want to talk about is evaluation. How often do you go back over your life and evaluate yourself? How often do you go back through and determine those things that you could have done differently, Maybe you done a little better. Maybe you did something you wish you hadn't done. Maybe you said something. Maybe you mistreated somebody. Maybe you weren't as nice as you should have been. Maybe you allowed somebody to take advantage of you and you knew better than that. There are some things that go on in our lives that we have to go back through those things. And as human beings, it's common for us to want to kind of negate those bad things, those negative things that happen to us. We kind of want to forget those and focus on the good things. But I will tell you this. Those negative experiences also bring lessons. They also bring wisdom. And as long as we can pull the lessons out of those negative things, they're just as valuable as all of the positive things that happen in our lives. So we can't just disregard those bad things, but we also can't allow them to make us be who we are. In other words, don't allow your negative experiences to form who you are in a negative way, in a way that's going to be detrimental to your growth. That's what I mean. I'm talking about having something that happened to you. If you know you didn't like that experience, don't repeat that experience for somebody else. Don't treat someone else the same way that you were treated that you know you didn't like. Don't be that leader that abuses their power because somebody else abused them when they were coming up through the ranks. And we see it all the time. We see it in churches. We see it in the military. We see it in Fortune 500 companies. There have been people that have gone through these bad experiences. They've been mistreated. They've been abused. They've taken all of this negativity within themselves. And then at some point, they blow it back out. But we have the power right now to control that. We can turn that thing around and turn it into a positive situation for ourselves and everybody else around us. All we have to do is change our mindset, change the way we look at certain things and how we let those things influence us so that we can have the best impact possible for those around us. And also for the people that are not necessarily around us. Our influence actually will go out past our sphere of influence, past our inner circle, I should say. Our sphere of influence can continuously grow outward as long as we are projecting, and I hate to say this, but as leaders, we're not always projecting positivity. Sometimes if we're in a bad mood, we could be projecting that negativity onto somebody else too. So we have to be aware of that. And that just comes with knowing ourselves, being honest, being realists, understanding that we don't know everything, understanding that we're not at our best all the time. It goes to evaluating ourselves, being honest, making sure that we can check ourselves, and having people around us that have the green light to check us too. Those inner circles of friends. We have to make sure we have people that can watch our back, our sides, our front, make sure people see our blind spots. We have people in our corner that can catch those things that we don't see. That's not always easy. So we have to, we hear this term self-made a lot. I don't like it. There are a lot of people that subscribe to that, and if that's your thing, so be it. But self-made to me means that you did it by yourself. And I can't think of anything great that anybody did all alone without a team of people helping them. We might not see the team, but there's a team there. Or there was a team there. Somebody was pushing that person. Somebody was encouraging that person. Somebody was mentoring that person. And we all need that. So that's evaluation. The next point I want to talk about is actions. What good is a plan if there are no actions that take place? For every plan, there has to be an action or a set of actions that's going to get you going towards your goal. But what are the actions that are really going to benefit your plan? You ever heard the term, I've been busy, but not productive? And there is a difference. You can be busy scaring around, doing all kinds of stuff, getting involved in everything, put your hands on everything. But are you being productive? Are you the leader that micromanages everything? You have to be involved in every aspect of everything that's going on around you? Or do you trust the people that you have empowered to do their jobs? But if you're micromanaging to the point that others are not doing their job, then you can't do the things that you really need to do as a leader because you're too focused in too many areas. So we have to make sure that we're keeping a balance of our supervision as well as our ability to allow people to do what we have asked them to do. Keeping in mind that everything that we do should be in the best interest of the overall organization, the growth of every individual within that organization, as well as ourselves. But are we taking the right actions that we need to accomplish the mission that we set out to accomplish? Because all of those other things are distractions. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we don't have things going on that are important. I'm not even saying that something might happen that will take you off of your plan for a little while. Life happens, and we all know that. But when you have a plan in place, even when you get off track, it is so much easier for you to get back on track if you have a plan to jump back onto. If you don't have a plan, then you're just out there flapping. So the whole purpose of what we're talking about right here today is just helping to devise a plan that we said we wanted to accomplish, something that we wanted to do, something that we wanted to reach for. So when you have that plan, it makes everything so much easier, and it also makes things easier for other people too, because when we all know the plan, if you fall off, you have somebody that can say, hey sir, hey ma'am, or whoever, this is what we need to be focused on right now. So the actions. Also, another thing about actions is this. We get caught up sometimes in the big goal, the big dream, and we forget that we should be dreaming big. We should dream so big that it's something that we can't do alone. But we forget that, and we get intimidated by that humongous dream because we're looking at the whole big picture at one time. You have to break that thing up into smaller pieces. Why is that so important? Well, for one thing, when you break up a big goal into smaller goals or benchmarks, whatever you want to call it, you can accomplish a small victory at a time. Small victory at a time. And you celebrate those victories. Every time you hit one of your benchmarks, you celebrate that. Why? Because mentally and psychologically, it gives you the feeling of accomplishment. And when you have that feeling of accomplishment, you are ready to move on to the next challenge. And as you continue that process, before you know it, you have reached your goal. But if you're looking at this big old honking goal that you can't accomplish by yourself anyway, it's easy to become discouraged. So break those big goals up into benchmarks, which is a great segue into the next point of the spread method: deadlines. What is a plan without a deadline? If you're trying to accomplish a goal and you don't have a deadline on it, it's still just a dream. But when you take a dream with a plan and a deadline, now it has become a goal. It has become something attainable. You can put an end date on that. So a lot of people get hung up on that one because they'll ask me, well, what happens if I don't achieve my goal, I don't reach my goal by the time I hit my deadline? Start over. And when I say start over, I don't mean start all the way over from the beginning. I mean, go back to your point where you say, okay, here's where I am right now. Let me reevaluate everything I've done so far. How much more do I have left to do? And then start from that point and continue on. Many people, they don't reach their goal by the date that they set and they quit. And from the time that you quit, you just failed. But if you regroup, it's okay to do that. We have to do that quite often in life. Not very often when we set off to do something large that's bigger than us that we accomplish it the very first time. It happens, but that's not the norm. Sometimes we have to take curves. Sometimes we have to take detours. Sometimes we have to change our plan altogether. And that's okay. When you have a plan, you can change the plan and come up with a different plan, but you started off with a plan. When you have no plan, you're just going to be out there flapping. So the theme here is to have a plan. If you have a goal, you have to have a plan to reach that goal. And if you have a plan that has no deadline on it, then what you're trying to reach for is just a dream. But we could turn that thing around by just adding a deadline to it. We have a plan in place now. We say, okay, here's my start point. I have my benchmarks. I know what I need. I have my mentors. I have all my supporting network around me. I have my circle of friends that are watching my back. We're doing 360 degrees of leadership from the back, from the sides, from the front. We're leading up, we're leading down, and we're making sure that everyone around us is benefiting from the lessons that we learned along the way. And that's what it's all about. So remember, when you add a deadline to your plan, now you have something to reach for. Now you have something that you can bounce your progress up against. But it all starts with spotting your opportunities, determining the payoff. What resources do you need? Evaluate yourself as you go. Evaluate the situation. That evaluation is going to let you know if you're doing well and you can continue with what you've been doing, or you might need to make some adjustments. And then your actions will reflect everything that you've come up with so far. Your assessments are going to let you know what actions you need to take next. And then ensure that all the actions that you take are actions that are going to get you closer to achieving your goals. And those deadlines, they're there for a reason, but don't forget, just because you may not reach your goal by the date that you set, that doesn't mean you failed. It just means that you need to go back, readjust, and then continue to march on. Set a new date. Set a new date. It's not an excuse to procrastinate, but it just gives you that motivation. It gives you that point to reach for. And then think of how good you'll feel when you reach your goal, you accomplish it at your date that you set. Just think about how good you'll feel. Think about how the people that are following you are going to feel. And then you'll be ready for the next challenge. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today, the spread method. Write it down. I'll share it online. But again, it's spot, payoff, resources, evaluation, actions, and deadlines. If you use those points to help you develop your plan, I promise you, you will make great progress towards reaching all of your goals for the new year 2020. And again, this year is going to be the year of performance, and it is time for us leaders to step up because we are necessary and we are needed. So again, my name is Wayne Smalls. I would like for all of you to go to our website, check us out on our webpage, www.lwaynesmalls.com. You can also follow us on social media. You can join our Facebook page at Leader Lifestyles. Also, you can follow me personally at Wayne Smalls. But check us out. And if you're interested in receiving any leadership training, we do workshops, seminars, everything dealing with leadership. We are involved, and we want to help and partner with you to help you take your organization to the next highest level. And remember this, we are the leaders, paving the way for those that follow us. Take care, God bless you, and see y'all next time.